Hi, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Alaikum assalam.
All right. So, what was the assignment?
To write a paragraph of madhab, 4 paragraphs of madhab.
Okay, so I got one student's assignment. Manon. Not sure if she's here. Okay, once she joins, then she can read it to you. Faria, do you have yours with you?
My one. Can I get my paper?
Yeah, get it. Anyone else have theirs handy? I just want everyone to get a chance to read it, and we'll discuss and clarify any confusion or doubts. Murtaza, are you able to do it?
I don't know where my paper was. My paper, I think, went somewhere. I think someone garbage so maybe.
Got my paper.
Okay, Murtaza, if you could rewrite it or get a few points from whatever you wrote, or if you can just say it on the spot, whatever you remember, then you can prepare that. First, I'll have Faria go since she has her paper. And everyone else also, please get your paragraph ready. We'll go one by one and read it. Okay. Faria, you can go. You can start. Bismillah.
So a madhab is like a school of people that read namaz differently because, like, as you said, people from different countries learn different ways, so they have different ways of reading namaz too. There's 4 different type of madhabs: Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, and Hanbali.
Yeah. So Hanbali.
Hanbali. And
Yeah, and then the first one is Hanafi.
Hanafi.
Yeah.
And
Very good.
all of these 4 different type of madhabs are named after scholars. The first one is Imam Abu Hanafi, and he represents
Abu Hanifa.
Imam Abu Hanifa represents Hanafi. Imam Malik stands for Maliki. Imam Shafi represents Shafi, and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal represents Hanbal. And
Yeah. Very good. Very good. You got a lot of the main points. So very good. Yeah. So different countries. Sometimes you have in the same country, you'll like, especially America, right? From the same country, you'll see people praying different ways, following a few different rules. So it's not always based on the country, but that kind of is like that where people from India, Pakistan, or Hanafi, and different Arab countries are Shafi or Hanbali, Maliki, etc. Turkey is also Hanafi. Yeah, very good. Arhan, would you be able to read your paper? It's not really a whole paper. It should just be, maybe like 4-sentence paragraph, whatever you remember.
Okay, sure. So a madhab is basically a school of thought with, I don't know how to pronounce that.
With what, sorry?
It's like fiqh. Is that how you pronounce it? Oh.
Yes.
And there are 4 major madhabs. There's Sunni madhab, the 4 major Sunni madhabs that are Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, and Hanbali.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I'm trying to see which. So they also emerged in the 9th and 10th century. Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay. Yeah, 9th century. That'd be 800. Yeah, I think 9th century, or maybe even a little earlier than that. Okay, very good. Huzaifa?
So the 4 madhabs are from the 4 scholars at a time of Hanafi, Hanbali, Shafi, Maliki, and they created their own interpretation of Islam, and like each of them are like different in their own ways, and like how people live the Islamic way.
Okay. Okay, very good. Let's see, we have a few more. Alina, do you have your sentences for what you took notes of? Alina, are you there? Well, Murtaza, do you have your stuff ready now?
So the 4 madhabs are about 4 scholars that describe doing that describe Islam in like 4 different ways, but all 4 of them are right, and like there's no difference in them. But some scholars do it in a different way, and some scholars do it in a different way, and that's not wrong. They could do it that way because they're doing it the Islamic way, and what they're doing is still right.
Okay. None of you mentioned the food aspect. Right? Sometimes like seafood, that's like a difference of opinion. You'll hear that word a lot. Difference of opinion. Prayer time, right? Sometimes different madhabs will pray asr earlier. There's also joining prayer. I think that's a good example. Have you guys ever, when you guys are traveling, right? When you guys are traveling on a road trip or in a plane, and you have to pray. Have you guys ever came across the idea of combining prayers, meaning you pray Zuhr and then you just immediately after you pray Zuhr, you pray Asr. You don't wait till Asr time starts. Has anyone ever experienced that? Yes, no?
I'm not sure. Like we just read Zohar and then just like wait for Asr on tap in and then just
Okay. Yeah, so that's usually what. But how many rakats do you pray when you're traveling?
2. You read 2
Yeah.
rakats when you're traveling.
You cut the 4 rakat prayers into half.
I think it's called Safri namaz. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Safar means travel in Arabic. So in the Hanafi fiqh, we have to shorten the prayer. For Zohar, Asr, and Isha, you have to pray 2 rakats when you're traveling a certain distance. You don't have the option to pray full. In other madhabs, you can cut it in half or you can pray the full. And in the Hanafi madhab, you have to pray every prayer in the prayer time. So for Zohar, you pray Zohar, then you have to wait till Asr time starts. If you want, what you can do is you can pray Zohar at the end of Zohar time, then wait till Asr time to start a few minutes, and then pray Asr time when you're traveling. But what other madhabs will do, they'll stop, let's say on a road trip at 2 p.m. They'll pray Zohar, then they'll pray Asr. Then they'll keep driving until Maghrib time starts. They won't have another stop for Asr. So stuff like that. Sometimes people don't know about madhab, right? So the reason why we talked about this is, let's say you're traveling with your family and someone says, oh, we're gonna stop and we're gonna pray Zohar and Asr together. And you're like, no, we have to wait for Asr time to start. Well, then there's confusion. People are gonna be like, no, this is how we do it. Other person's going, this is how we do it. But you now, if you know about madhab, you'll say, that's fine. You can follow that method, but I'm gonna follow this, and we're still gonna be, friendly. We're still gonna be understanding, and we just have slight differences. But understand the majority of Islamic rulings are the same, right? The majority way of praying is the same, just slight differences. Okay. All right. Very good, everyone. Alina, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but when you get a chance, please get that the paragraph about the madhabs turned in. This is the last class, so this will be the last chance, so you can get the completion for the course, inshallah. Okay, very good. Today, we're done talking about madhabs for today and fiqh. Today I want to talk about something slightly different. So you guys remember there's this slide that I had a few months ago. We were talking about the Islamic mentality about a few different topics. This is the Islamic mentality about hope and fear. Okay.
I don't remember.
So yeah, maybe some of you are not here, or some of you, it's been a while. So I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but just I'm kind of moving the discussion in that way, right? So I mentioned that being hopeful and afraid, there are two emotions that humans feel. But what does Islam say about those emotions, right? Because what happens if someone is too hopeful, right? Let's say like you have a student in a classroom and they think that, oh, I'm gonna pass the exam no matter what. So if they're too hopeful, what is that gonna lead them to do? They're going to, skip studying. They're going to stay up late and just waste time, and then they think, I have all the time in the world. I'll study later. Then they wake up on exam day. They didn't study. Now they're gonna suffer. So you can't be too hopeful. And you can't be too afraid, because sometimes some people are too afraid, meaning the same situation. There's a student, he has an exam coming up, thinks that, no matter how much I study, I'm gonna get an F. So then what happens? They just give up studying. So now you have two people who are at the opposite extreme, and they both are not studying. They both are not able to do what they need to do, but it's for completely opposite reasons. Do you guys understand? So that's why I talked about last time, having a balance. So you should be, hopeful that, okay, I will pass the class, but, I still need to have that, I still need to prepare, because if I don't prepare, then it's not always going to be good. So a balance. So similarly, Allah mentions in the Quran, He talks about the hellfire punishment, and He talks about rewarding and Jannah and all the good things that Muslims will get. So He balances it. If He only talked about Jannah in the Quran, then everyone will just imagine the good, and they will not be afraid of committing sin, or be afraid of hurting people, etc. And if you only talked about Jahannam, then people will only be afraid, but they will not have that, emotion or feeling of hope. They will not, want to do good things to get into Jannah. So now you have this balance that you have Jannah, so you are hopeful that, if I do good, then I will get rewarded. If I am patient during difficult times, I'll get rewarded. And, there's the mentioning of punishment and hellfire, so that we stay away from those prohibited things. Okay. So what do you guys see in front of you here in this picture?
A person holding a
Friendship.
baby's hand.
Yeah, this is a very tiny hand. So a person holding a baby's hand. This is a parent holding their baby's hand. Okay. So sometimes some people, well, everyone makes dua for children, right? Like married couple usually want children, so they will make dua to Allah subhanahu, oh Allah, give me a healthy child, give me a child that will be obedient and will be loving and caring, and that will, bring happiness to the house and to the family and to their siblings, right? So everyone makes dua for that, especially people who, have trouble having children. That's one thing that sometimes people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't give them children at all, or sometimes doesn't give them children right away. Do you guys know of any prophets that did not have children for many, many years until a very old age?
Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu wanted to have a child at 60
The
something.
Prophet Muhammad did have children younger, but his sons, so all of his daughters that were born, they lived, as until adulthood, but none of the sons that he had survived. They all passed away as babies. But there were some other prophets who they didn't have any children until they were extremely old. Does that ring any bells? So I'll give you one. One was Ibrahim alayhi salam. Who were his two sons?
Ismail and
Yeah, very good. Ismail alayhi salam. And one
Musa.
more. No. Ishaq.
it's Ismail.
Yeah, you're right. these were his two sons. So did anyone have an idea how old Ibrahim alayhi salam was when he had his first son, Ismail alayhi salam?
Mm, he, I think he was like age 50 something.
I believe, according to the narrations, he was over 100 years old. Even 120 years old. So, he lived for many, many years. He was not able to have children. The other prophet was Zakaria alayhi salam. Anyone know who his son was? Zakaria alayhi salam's son was Yahya alayhi salam. He also didn't have him until he was very old. So they actually made dua to Allah to give them children, right? Zakaria salam, he he made dua to Allah to give him a child, and then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, right, that you're gonna have a child, right? When Jibreel alayhi salam came and told Zakaria salam that you're gonna have a child, he was kind of shocked. Yeah, although he made dua for it, he was shocked because he said, I'm so old and my wife is old, and we're too old to have children. Like our bodies cannot, produce any children at this old age. So although he made dua, he was still shocked. And then Jibreel alayhi salam said that your Lord can create however he wants. It doesn't matter if you're old or young. He can, if he wants to give an elderly couple a child, he can do that. That's in his power. Okay. So what my point is that there's verses in the Quran that mention that there is an example of a couple, meaning a married couple, husband and wife, that they make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, grant us a child, and you grant us the child, then that child will be pious and will be a good child, and we will worship you and we will thank you, and saying all those kind of things. And then it says that when the child is born, then what did this father and mother do? They start worshiping other people. They start worshiping other gods. They disobey Allah. They commit shirk. They follow other religion. So the example is to show that there are many people who, in the time of need, or in the time of wanting something, or the time of dua, they will be good people. They will obey Allah. They will worship only Him. They won't worship any other God. But then, at the time of once they get what they want or what they need, then they start disobeying Allah. They start going back to their wrong ways. Okay, and this is very how do I say it, upsetting to Allah, because He knows He knows the future. He knows everything. But when this couple or when this family is worshiping Allah, and it's like imagine you go to your parents and you really want something from them. You really want like the new new bike or new Xbox, or you really want them to take you to Disneyland or something. So let's say the whole week you're very kind to them. You do your chores, you do your homework, you eat. You don't annoy them or anything, and then they take you to Disneyland or wherever you guys want. They take you to the theme park, or they take you to your favorite restaurant or whatever. And then after that, once they've done that, then you start you stop doing the chores. You talk back to them. You don't do your homework on time. You don't listen to them. You just stay locked up in your room. All those things. So imagine how hurtful that is to parents. What they would think. They would think, oh, my child is just being nice to me and obeying me when they need or want something from me. And as soon as I give it to them, they just forget and they leave and they go back to their own, kind of selfish self. So imagine how hurtful that is. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that don't just do things for him just because you need something. Even when he gives you something, you should be more grateful. You should be more obedient, right? What do you guys see here?
A kid or a adult sitting all alone.
All alone. Yeah. Sitting all alone. Looks like there's no one nearby. He's just not really doing anything, right? How does this picture make you feel, or what do you think this kid is feeling?
Sad and depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Lonely, sad, depressed. So you guys know Surah Duha, right? Yeah. Does anyone know what that surah talks about? That surah is talking about is basically saying when the Prophet ﷺ first was given revelation and was first approached by Jibreel alayhi salam, that he got some Quran, right? He got some revelation from Allah. He got a message. And then after that, and after a few verses, after a while, there was no visit from Jibreel alayhi salam. There was no more verses that were being sent until much later. So there was a long gap. So at that time, the Prophet ﷺ felt very, he almost he felt abandoned, right? He knew Allah was there, everything, but this feeling that why is he not sending me a message? Why is he not speaking to me? Why is I'm not coming? So that feeling of loneliness was there, and even further after his wife Khadija passed away, after his uncle passed away, after he lost a lot of support from his family, after he, had to leave his hometown, Mecca. So then Prophet felt extremely lonely and, obviously very sad because of this. So, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the surah that says, you're not alone. Your Lord didn't just leave you. People would say that the mushrikeen, the idol worshippers, they would say, "Oh, your Lord has abandoned you. He left you. He's not coming back." So he sent the surah to the Prophet ﷺ saying that your Lord did not abandon you. He, when you were an orphan, uh, when you were an orphan, sorry, when when you were, in time of need, he gave you, and when you felt lost, he guided you, right? So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, that even when you're all alone, Allah is there. So this is to show us that sometimes people feel, and even we may feel, right? We may feel at times, maybe not now, alhamdulillah, we have our family with us, siblings, everything, but even when you have that, sometimes you'll feel so alone. And that's not because people are not with you. Sometimes you can have your whole family living with you and everything's normal, but you'll just feel that sense of loneliness. You'll feel like you're going through a tough time and you can't speak to anyone about it. You can't talk to your brothers and sisters for some reason, or you feel like you can't talk to your parents about it. They won't understand what I'm going through. They'll think I'm just being I'm just overreacting. So you'll feel so lonely, right? That even though your family is living with you, you can't talk about your problems to anyone, and you feel very sad, and it feels like there's a rain cloud on top of your head, and just everywhere you go, it's very depressing. I mean, I hope, inshallah, that none of you have to feel that, and Allah always keeps you happy, because it's a very hurtful feeling. But sometimes people feel that, and we may feel that at times. So we have to be prepared and say that no, I'm not alone. Who do I have with me? I have Allah with me, right? You always have Allah there watching you, listening to you. If you when you feel all alone, you can speak to Him. He is listening to you, and He will answer you. You will not be able to hear Him, but He will fix your problems eventually. He will make things open for you. He will, bring back happiness to you. But you have to have that hope and trust. Some people, they get so depressed, and they don't they don't make dua to Allah. so depressed and they feel so lonely, and they forget that, oh, I'm not alone. I have Allah with me 24/7. So then obviously they're not gonna feel happy. How are they gonna get better if they don't think, hey, Allah is right here. I can speak to him and he can solve my problems. He can remove the sadness. So if you have to know, if you ever feel really sad or really lonely, don't lose that connection with Allah, because if that's gone, then it's very difficult to start feeling happy again. Okay, and this is advice for yourself and also advice you can give to other people. You know, inshallah, Allah keeps you all happy, but sometimes you may have someone in your life, a friend or a family member, who you have to cheer up. How are you going to cheer them up? First, remind them that you're not alone. Allah is testing you just like He tested the Prophet. And you're going through difficulty. Allah wants to see if you're going to call out to Him or you're going to just go astray. You're going to just try to find your happiness in other things, like in haram things, just to make you feel good. Last image I want to share with you guys is this. What's going on here?
There's like a big thunderstorm and it's making the waves bigger so that
the ship possibly might get tipped over and all the people in there might die.
Yeah. Yep. Have you guys ever been on a cruise ship or
Yeah, I have
a cruise ship? Like those huge.
the big
Do you remember the name?
And then we have not been on a cruise ship, but we've been like on like a really big
We've
boat.
been on a water. We've been
It
on
was
a
like
water
a
taxi.
1,000. It was just like tour on a big giant boat. Like 1,000
Okay.
Yeah, we've been on a water taxi before.
A water what?
Water taxi. It's in Chicago.
Water taxi. Okay, yeah. I think I know. Yeah. Did you guys ever feel like this feeling like one time I was on a speedboat and the waves were very strong because it was very windy, and I also felt like it's going right and left so much that it's just gonna start tipping over. Did you guys ever have?
I had that feeling before when we were coming back for a boat.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I went canoeing once.
so
with
windy
some
that
cousins.
the waves were like going back and forth and the boat was rocking.
Yeah, canoeing. It also feels like that. Yeah, I was on not a boat but a jet ski. I was on a jet ski, and one time I don't know how it happened, but the waves were very strong and we turned a little bit and it flipped over, fell in the water, flipped over. So that was not luckily we had our life jackets, but and then I was with some friends. They were in a canoe. I was in a different canoe. They were in a canoe and some of the kids were messing around. They were like just joking and trying to act like it's gonna tip over. Actually, one kid's his backpack fell into the water, so he kind of freaked out and he like leaned over to grab it, and then the whole canoe just tipped over. I think 3-4 people just fell in the water. That's like a small thing, but imagine this. Imagine you're in a ship and the waves are this huge, like hundreds of feet high in the air, and the whole ship is gonna fall and you're in the middle of the ocean. That's something else. I mean, there's a very low chance of survival in these kind of waves. So why I brought this image is because all these things Allah mentions in the Quran. At least I think 3 or 4 times in the Quran, Allah gives this example or this kind of short story or this event of people inside a ship when there's waves that are pushing the ship left and right. Okay, and there's a huge storm, and it looks like the ship is gonna tip over and everyone's gonna sink and everyone's gonna lose their lives. That's what it looks like. They're gonna drown. So Allah mentions that there are people who they're in a ship that looks like it's sinking because the waves are pushing it so violently. So what do? What would you do in this situation? How can you fix the situation? You can't steer the the ship, you completely lose control. So what's the only thing you can do?
Do dua to Allah.
And
Yeah, that's the only thing.
ask Allah for help and forgiveness because you may think you did something wrong.
Yeah, that's the last hope you have. This is the point when people realize they are helpless. Right? When we're in normal life, you think, oh, I'm in control of my life. You know, I can I can drive and I'm in control of the car. I can, go wherever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can meet and eat, whatever. But this, if you're in a sinking ship, then you're like, I have no control. Control is actually only in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hand. So now I cannot do anything, so I'm gonna ask the one being that can actually help me, which is Allah. Okay? But what Allah mentions is similar to the scenario of the parents that ask Allah for a child. This, the people at the time, like close, like very, they see death in their face, right? They're staring into death, and they're making dua. Oh Allah, save me from dying, save me from this sinking ship, save me from drowning in the ocean. I have nowhere, I have no control. So then they call out to Allah. So what does He do? He saves them. He makes the waves calm down. He's makes the ship upright, and He clears the storm. He saves them. But then what do these people do once the storm is cleared? They go back to their old ways. They go back to their old lifestyle. Maybe someone was completely, they would not pray. They would not even think of Allah. They would, they wouldn't care what they ate. They would eat haram and they would do all kinds of sinful activities. But then now they're in the ship and then say, oh Allah, save me, and I will, I will start praying, and I will start making dua, and I will start giving charity, and I will, I will be a better person. I will go to the masjid. I will, be kind to my family, etc. They make all these promises and they say, just save me, give me another chance. Allah gives them another chance. But then what do? After a while, they forget. They forget the difficult time.
Completely just continue.
Yeah. They completely forget. Oh, like imagine, sometimes we do this. Sometimes, like, maybe a year ago, we went through the most difficult time of our lives. Maybe we knew people, or some people themselves, they go through, like cancer and things like that. Allah protect us. Or they lose they lose a loved one, whatever. They go through such a difficult time, and then they get closer to Allah. They make dua to Him. They, and then if He gives them, He was there for them in the time of difficulty. He helps them, etc. Then after a year later, they forget. They forget that, hey, Allah was there for me when I was down and depressed and going through such difficult times. But then now you go back to your old life. So that's not fair, right? If Allah is helping you at your time of difficulty, then when you are in ease and in comfort, then you should remember Allah. You should pray. You should make dua to Him. You should be a good person and follow His commandments, right? Otherwise, if we're only following His commandments and making dua to Him only when we're in time of need, that's a very selfish relationship to Allah. We have to, we give and we get. So these are a few points I want to mention to the class, that we should be our best not to fall in this category where we're only calling Allah when we're in difficulty. Even when we're completely happy, we should remember Allah. We should make dua to Him. We should pray to Him. That way, Allah will always be there. If we leave Allah in the time of ease and comfort, then sometimes we may need Him, and He will say, you forgot about me. It's my time to forget about you. And that's unfortunately what happens sometimes on the Day of Judgment. Allah will say to a few people that, you forgot about me when you all were alive. You used to hear the adhan, you used to hear the call for prayer, you used to see people praying, you used to hear the Quran saying all these things, but used to ignore it. So now I will ignore you, and then Allah will not help them on the Day of Judgment. So we don't want that to happen to us. We really want to come on the Day of Judgment and Allah to say, you worshiped me and obeyed me when you were in time of difficulty, and you also worshiped me and obeyed me and prayed to me, and were grateful to me at the time of ease and happiness. So Allah will reward and will remove all stress, etc. Okay, so I make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes all difficulty from us, and we don't want to be in these situations of like a sinking ship or anything like that, like having very tough sicknesses or having the loss of a loved one. We don't want to go through that. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from all those difficulties and make us be amongst those who are grateful when we're in good, happy, comfort state. We're grateful, so that Allah says that if you are grateful and you're thankful, then I will give you more. He'll give you more and more. He won't stop giving. If you're grateful and you appreciate everything you have, He'll give you more. But if someone has so many good things and all they do is complain, there was one person that I knew, very healthy person, would exercise and uh, eat healthy and everything, and then he fell sick. So he was hospitalized just out of nowhere. He had a heart issue out of nowhere. So then he started feeling like, I'm so healthy, I'm so careful with what I eat and my exercise routine. Why am I sick? How is this fair that I'm so healthy and then out of nowhere, yeah, if someone else is has a smoking habit or has a very poor diet and exercise habit, then if they get sick, fine. But why am I getting sick? So we shouldn't ever fall into that category that, oh, I'm sick, this is not fair, why am I sick? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tests everyone, right? I'll try to mention this as much as I can. If you go through a difficulty, look at it as a test. Allah is testing you to see, are you going to be those people who pray to Him at time of difficulty and then forget about Him once it's done? And are you those type of people who don't even look, face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you're going through difficulty? Or are you those people who, time of difficulty, you remember Him, and time of ease and comfort, you remember Him? Okay. All right. So I got everyone's paragraphs. I just needed who's here? Okay, Aryan, Arush also joined. Aryan and Arush, do you have your paragraphs for the? I'm not sure if you guys were here last week, but do you guys have there was an assignment to have written a paragraph about madhabs? Okay, Aryan and Aruf, if you guys can just write it and send an email to me. Write it and send an email to me. Yeah, so the assignment was write one paragraph, right, 4 to 6 sentences about madhabs, right? We talked about it for the past, I think, 2 weeks. So I want to just make sure everyone understands what it is and what you guys remember from it, what notes you took. So about 4 to 6 4 to 6 sentence paragraph about madhabs, and just email it to me, because next week there is no class. Today is the last class for the summer program. Okay, and Alina also, you didn't turn it in yet, so just have it written and email it to me, so you can get the completion of this course. Everyone else turned it in or read it, so you guys are good. All right, so you guys have any other questions or discussions, or maybe you can mention what would you like to learn in the future courses, perhaps? Would you either like learn more about something we talked about or some different topic? You guys have any suggestions or ideas or things you have been thinking, oh, I want to learn about this topic that we haven't covered, or maybe just go in detail about another topic we've already covered. Yeah, for you.
Like, why is Safir namaz only have 2 rakat?
That's because you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees that when a person is traveling, it's difficult. It's a difficult because if you're let's say you're traveling by car, right? You're on a road trip. It's much different than when you're in the comfort of your own home, where you can easily make wudu and pray in your room, air-conditioned room and on carpet. When you're traveling, you don't have that. You have to like go on some rest stop and make wudu either in a public bathroom, and you have to just pray somewhere outside with your Jani Maz or something. So since it's difficult, then Allah SWT made it that while you're traveling, just pray less. Just pray 2 rakats. That's why. So I think maybe we can talk more about like Islamic rulings, because a little bit more about different fiqh if you guys want, or we can even do maybe some like Islamic history, or talk about prophets, or anything that you guys think like, oh, I want to learn more about this topic. So if you guys want, you can email me with your suggestions, or you can mention them now in the chat, or in the WhatsApp group or whatever, or next time we have class, which is going to be at least I think a few weeks, if not another month, then we can bring it up then. But hopefully, before we start the new course, it would be nice if I can have your guys' input, see what you guys want to discuss. Okay, Alina, did you have a question? I think I saw a hand raised. No? Okay. All right, guys. Today's the last class, so inshallah, I'll see you either, I think, in a few weeks or maybe a month for the next time. And I make dua that Allah keeps you all happy and safe from difficulty, and makes us benefit. The point of these classes is that we understand and we implement in our lives, right? And we remember. Okay. Okay, guys. Enjoy the rest of your summer. I think you guys have maybe like 1 or 2 weeks left, so enjoy the rest of your summer vacation, and I will see you during the next class, inshallah. Remember, there's no class next week. Today's the last class of the summer program. Okay? All right. Okay, take care, everyone. Allah Hafiz.
Wa alaikum assalam.